How you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're taking a look at Eclipse Comics Airboy #1. All right, this is the second series of Airboy. This is the first series was written by the Airboy was created by Chuck Biro back in like World War II. I don't remember the exact year, and the original Airboy was an aviator, and he fought like the Nazis and he fought the Imperial Japanese during the Golden Age. He was created by Charles Biro and Dick Wood, and Al Cami was the artist. Okay, and it went on for a couple. I think it lasted till like 1953. Yeah, I think it lasted till about 1953, and then it just disappeared. It was kind of forgotten about, and then Eclipse Comics brought it back. So this is 1986. Yeah, okay, 1986. This is written by Chuck Dixon, Tom Truman, and Timothy Truman, and Yeats. I can't remember his first name, but this was like kind of an experiment. They brought back a Golden Age comic character. I think he was in the public domain, and it was only 50 cents, and it was a small little comic, and it came out bi-weekly. And here's his plane called Birdie. And this was my first Chuck Dixon comic that I ever read. Became one of my favorite comic book writers. Just a solid comic book writer. And this is Eclipse Comics. They were from California. They were a short-lived but very important comic company. Let's check out the edition. Airboy, #1, July 15th, 1986. Eclipse Comics. Yeah. Timothy Truman, editor. Catherine Ironwood. Catherine Ironwood was a fangirl who wrote a lot of letters to comics and got a lot of letters published, and then grew up to become a publisher. How cool is that? But look, the Scout was a pretty good comic. Tales of Terror, I remember those. New Wave, I don't remember those. Espers, I remember. Airboy, DNA Agents. They were good. I should break out the DNA Agents. And this is Cat Ironwood would do like an editorial, kind of like Stan's Soapbox. So here we have just competent artwork. Okay, so the story is David Nelson II, who was the original Airboy, is now old. It's now 1986. He was a kid in World War II, and now he's an old man in 86, and he's living in a monastery where he was raised. He was raised in a monastery, and now he owns it and lives there. And you must know the answer to that, Nelson. Your life is mine. So his old enemies found out where he is, which I guess they didn't look too hard because he's living right where he grew up. But I don't remember if that was a secret or not. So they're coming to get him. And here we have David Nelson III. That's the Airboy of this series. He's out trading with the Asian stereotype of Hirota, and Hirota was the first enemy that the original Airboy shot down, and he was impressed by him because he was like the greatest. So and then he pledged his service to the original Airboy, and here he is training him Mr. Miyagi style, and they're fighting, and he's impressed. Excellent. When they get attacked, go inside, I'll take him out. So he's like, yeah, to the house, Davey. You're not ready for this. And look at that. He just smashes the guy right in the eye. That's death. I don't care. If it's strong enough to go through the windshield right into your eye, you're dead. And then this armored truck just tips over because he's a cool Asian guy. And here he is taking him out just with the stick. Boom, 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 boom. And Davey goes in and he finds these two pirate-looking guys. They got these cool weapons. And the original Airboy saves his son with an Uzi. And he just comes out blasted. So make no mistake, Airboy, he's killing people. He has no qualms about killing people. I mean, he was a World War II soldier, so he's got no problems taking you out with a gun. And here we have, his son. He's grown up in a monastery. To my recollection, he hasn't even seen a woman yet, and which makes some uncomfortable situations later on, especially with Valkyrie, and we'll see Valkyrie. Now they're running around, helicopters coming. And this is Chuck Dixon's bread and butter. He likes like unpowered guys with guns fighting military style, and then same with Tim Truman. So this is the stuff. Chuck Dixon went on to make a name for himself writing the Punisher for Marvel and Nightwing for DC. Street level, fisticuff, guns, knives, fighting superheroes and things like that. See here, he's shot. Oh my God, so everybody's dead. So Dad, he goes, so much I couldn't tell. Sorry, Valkyrie, and he's dead. And now Hirota is like, we got to tell you some secrets. So he takes a course like every good comic book. He shows him the secret room in the monastery where all this wealth is hidden over the ages, like Templar treasure and stuff like that. He's like, this is why your father was so wealthy. He had access to all this Templar treasure. So it's all yours now. He goes, and the best part is here's his Airboy costume. You're Airboy now. He's like, you got to go avenge your father. He's like, what do you? He goes, I never knew. And he goes, this is my sword. When your father shot me down, I pledged my sword to him. The sword's been in my family for 600 years, and now my sword is pledged to you. And and we'll find him. And then he's gonna get Birdie. So next issue, he introduces him to Birdie, his plane. Now Birdie is this jet, but its wings aren't fixed and it flaps. So I'm not a scientist. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how feasible that is, but there you go. That's the point. So Birdie, and it's almost like sentient. So there's a lot of mysticism and stuff. So his the next issue, and it's only 2 weeks away. They meet Skywolf, and Skywolf, he's been active. He never retired after World War II, so he's like older, seasoned military guy, and he went on to become a mercenary. He fought in Korea, so he never stopped fighting. So just he's like the Punisher, just old, salty. I guess that's a salty would be a Navy guy, but he's just an old. I don't know what's the equivalent, but that's what he is. So, and Chuck Dixon said he kind of modeled him after like an older Han Solo. So think of him as like Luke Skywalker, and then Skywolf becomes like his Han Solo, and then Hirota is the Ben Kenobi, and then Birdie is the Millennium. Well, I guess is it the Millennium Falcon when Han Solo doesn't fly it? So there's a whole bunch of like mystical characters that shows up, and so he fights. As much as Chuck Dixon likes the grounded in Earth, he's not afraid to use superpower and supernatural stuff. One of his best villains, and to me his best villain, is Misery. He's like this demon who flies this like gigantic, like I don't know, is it a B-1 bomber, the double one with the double fuselage, but it's also a coffin. Every time he kills somebody, they end up there. So it's like a flying graveyard. It's just so cool. Then he meets Valkyrie, who is like preserved, and comes out, and she's like young and still hot. They don't show her. Oh, look at this. I thought you'd be on the back cover. Number 1 with the book, Fashion in Action. I have no recollection of this. So, this lasted like 51 issues, I think. And then they're soliciting Airboy 52 so they're continuing with this numbering. And then there was a bizarre James Robinson who also wrote one of my favorite comics, Starman. But it's like it's about how James Robinson is taking drugs and rock and roll and all this stuff and can't come up and meet his deadlines for Airboy, and passes out and meets Airboy in his dream. It's really bizarre. Has like nothing to do with this series. This series is like a direct continuation of the original series, and I liked it. It was like, at the time I just bought it because it was 50 cents when regular comics were like a $1.25 or something like that. So big deal. You didn't like it, it was only 50 cents. But then later on they made it full sized, and it was like $1.25 or $1.75. I forget so it became like more expensive than a regular comic because it was direct market, and they printed on better paper. I still don't care about that. I would rather have newsprint paper because I'm an old school guy. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was high flying military stuff. Later it got into like occult stuff with when Misery showed up, and then the Heap showed up, who was like the original Swamp Thing, Man Thing kind of creature. they took a lot of Sky Wolf and I think like Bald Eagle and a lot of the other like aviator guys who debuted in, well, Airboy debuted in Air Fighters #2. So he wasn't the star, but he was the most popular, and he became the star. They changed the name of the comic to Airboy, so it was originally Air Fighters, it became Airboy. And here's Valkyrie. Okay, she was, the femme fatale who was going after Airboy, and then later she became so popular that they switched her sides to good, and Valkyrie became like Airboy's, lover. And it's kind of creepy because she gets reintroduced. She's still young. I forget what happened that made her still young. And now she's hitting on Davy, who's a lot younger than her, and her lover's son. So there you go. Well, that's Airboy. I really like this. I recommend this. I don't showcase stuff that I don't like. So if you see me showcasing it, unless I preface it with like, one notable exception, a comic I didn't like. But Airboy, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the new issue. I don't know if Chuck Dixon is writing it or not. But okay, thank you. I got a couple of new subscribers. That's always exciting. Thank you to the new subscribers. Please, the engagement kind of stopped dead. So comment. What would you like to see? Is there any particular comic you'd like to see? Is there any particular story you would like me to showcase? Is there any particular character you'd like me to talk about? Or a company, or something comics related, a movie or whatever. Just bring it up in the comments or email me at johnslongbox@yahoo.com. All right, thank you. Thanks a lot. See you, and I appreciate that you took your time on a busy day to watch my videos. Thank you.